but I'm gonna need a little more information. I know a little bit about systems. I am a systems theorist. I'm very good at social theories and all that. Systems theory that's that I have my own, well, it's just coming up. Really good. It's very helpful. I can be very useful here, okay? I already know people at the, city council. I'm Whitburn, Councilman Whitburn. I've dealt with him, recently. So, I was in a tenant buyout situation. I'm very glad to be here. For the useful in this community. I'm not sure if these are questions I have. I'm gonna just present what I have. So I know that her only thing is that you need this water line. I'm not sure if there's more to that and what is involved in that. You said you have a grant involved, from the, the Normal Heights for Smart Growth, the NHCPG, the nonprofit organization.
You're in the right place.
Thank you. So I'm all on this. I've already contacted the people. I have a copy of the email I sent to both the people in the community, which is Ms. Frias and Mr. Nguyen, which are the community kind of organizers in the area through the city through Councilmember Elo Rivera. This is District 9, am I right?
Yes, it is.
There we go. You know who I am?
And I'm going to extend on our timekeeper, but I'm going to extend your 2 minutes on our timekeeper. Thank you. And I'll help you cut to the chase.
Yeah, thank you.
I'm actually running the project.
Yeah,
and we have some we have one of the board members.
You, Mr. Coogan?
Yes.
Okay.
So I think you and I need to talk.
I think we do.
Probably after this meeting, or definitely, make sure I have your contact information, and I'll get you into the loop and up to speed on everything that's going on.
I really just wanted to communicate. I just wanted to contribute to the garden, and it's really cool that this is coming up, and I can be helpful in this way. I hope.
Thank you.
There's no communication at this point. We're gonna try to spark.
Awesome.
Thank you.
You're in the right place. Thank you.
Nice to cover.
Anybody else from the room? Okay, then let's go to Zoom. I see Becky Rapp, you have your hand up.
Yes, thank you for allowing me to speak tonight. I wanted to come and share something that I recently shared with Land Use and Housing, as well as CPC. There is a serious concern with San Diego's smoke-free housing protections. HUD requires that all public housing be 100% smoke-free, protecting children, seniors, and residents with health conditions from exposure to secondhand smoke. However, if an affordable housing project is privately or corporately owned, even when it benefits from public resources such as Section 8 or vouchers or local housing funds, that rule doesn't apply. There's an apartment complex going up in Rancho Bernardo, for an example. It's a privately owned affordable housing project that accepts housing subsidies, but because it's not owned or managed by the Housing Commission, the HUD smoke-free protections do not apply. This means that low-income families living there may still be exposed to secondhand smoke in their homes, simply because of who owns the property. So two families with the same income living in subsidized housing are treated unequally when it comes to health protections. And I feel that this is a critical loophole in our smoke-free housing policies. San Diego prioritizes affordable housing across the city, and we're seeing a significant uptick in projects virtually in every planning group area. And it's just not fair that public dollars can support housing where children and vulnerable populations are still being subjected to toxic secondhand smoke. So I bring this to your attention, as affordable housing projects in your planning area may be at risk, as in ours. And I just suggest that you speak to your council members and representatives, urging them to acknowledge this loophole and suggest adopting a policy requiring that all projects that receive affordable housing funds, private or public, be designated smoke-free. Thank you.
Thank you. It seems that you've timed your speech to 2 minutes exactly. Thank you.
Great. Thank you.
Anyone else on Zoom? Then I'll go to. She just spoke. Yeah, her lower hand. Okay. Next, anyone on the board? Public comment?
I have one.
Yes.
I don't know, did you get my email about the tree planting?
No.
Okay, it's happened at Camino del Sol Park. And also last weekend in Canto Park, through our church division, they were out there planting trees. And Todd Gloria was there. And I guess they get these trees for free, and then somebody comes in and helps, plant them. And they were planted in 2 parks so far that I know of. They had a big event, they had all these kids, I guess from the school, and there and helped plant this tree.
I definitely would be, send it to me again, because I definitely would be interested in that.
On Facebook, and I don't know if you got it.
Oh, okay. I'll check. Because there was a, USDA had promised a certain number of trees as part of a grant. I don't know if that fell through. There's a tree group in town that specifically works with the city on doing planting.
Camino del Sol Park, they got a bunch of brand new trees that they
Yeah.
planted. And then in Canto Park, which is a backside of New Vision in Canto, they just were out there, a big group, and Todd Gloria and everything. I did a big thing on planting the street.
Well, we are tree hungry here, so let's, we'll chase it down. Okay. Anyone else on the board? Yes, Parker.
Brenda. 7:15 and then 6:45.
That's a little kooky. Thank you.
What exactly is the?
Well, we'll do an agenda modification to have the break after the presentations at whatever time that occurs. Thank you. Okay, next, I think we'll go around the room for quick round of introductions. Paul Coogan, I'm the chair of the group. Lived in Normal Heights since 2010, and favorite Halloween costume. I'll go with pirate. We'll start this way and work our way around.
My name is Matthew Chafee. I was just recently elected to be on the board. I think my favorite Halloween costume was I was a beekeeper and that person in the crowd was a bee. But we're engaged. So she's gonna be terrible bride or so. Oh wait, it's something. Oh, Bridezilla. That's what it is. She's gonna be Bridezilla and I'll be a prisoner. Well, that's also kind of clever.
Brian Adams, the best one I saw when I was in graduate school, one of my fellow graduate students, just like Monica Lewinsky. So her and her friend went as Monica Lewinsky and Bill Clinton, and they nailed it.
Is Bam, resident in the Heights for a year and a half now, and that be a good old process.
Helen Harswa, I've been in Normal Heights for about 10 years, I think, and favorite Helen classic sheet with holes cut in the face.
Right on.
I believe in 87 year, Normal Heights, and the fence in like
We're best as a woman.
what do you want? No one cared. No one cared. Not now, one cared.
I'm Nancy Lawler, and I'm a board member of Normal Heights since 1970. And my favorite costume was I did Jack in the Box. You're the old Jack in the Box costume.
Yeah.
I was driving on the road, and there's this box, and I went over and picked it up, and it was a Jack in the Box costume.
It was meant to be.
So I just said, on my horse.
Now, does Charlie get dressed up
Yes, he does.
as Marshmallow?
No. Pictures of him in the fall thing out of school. They had his pictures taken, and he was the sheriff. Yeah, cowboy hat with the badge and everything, and he had the little arms that go.
Oh, awesome.
Residents from timekeeper, my favorite Halloween costume being playable dinosaur costume.
Oh, I love those.
And Soderbergh. Last year, someone came to the door. Living image of Eddie Munster. Oh, yeah.
Are you sure it was a costume?
Yeah, that was part of the intrigue of it.
Hi, I'm Julia, and I think my favorite Halloween costume is a witch. Any kind of witch.
Right on.
Sammy Burrows in Local Heights in 2019. And my favorite costume I think I'm gonna do with an inflatable wacky tube man. They made it. Hi, I'm Sierra Ortinelli Rivers. My favorite Halloween costume, I'm trying to think like what I've done is I was a bag and the boyfriend was a box. And he was a box of wine and I was a bag of wine that goes in the box of wine. Bag of wine together. Thank you.
I'm Kenny Patrick. I've been a resident on and off for a few decades, but this is the current tour is 4 years. This year I'm gonna be out of town. I'm stealing this from someone online, so I'm gonna tell all my friends I'm Amelia Earhart, because not go.
I'm Madison, I've been a resident in Normal Heights since 2022. And I'm kind of a Halloween Grinch, but my brother one year was a dining room table. So we had a box with utensils stapled on top and you wear a pumpkin hat, and touch down and the finished table and then pop his head out.
Nice. Right. Okay. At this point, we'll move to our first presentation, which is on the Adams North Improvements 1 projects, the sewer and water main repairs and upgrades, presented by Vic Salazar from the Community Liaison for Adams North Improvements 1 project. Quite a mouthful, but I'll get the presentation.
I'm sitting here looking at my phone for my photo of a hungry breakfast table. I had through with all the breakfast items.
Yeah.
I won first place in the contest. That's great. Good evening. My name is Vic Salazar, and I am the proprietor of Vic Salazar Communications, and we serve as the community liaison for the Adams North Improvements project. Our firm has been in business we're now in our 18th year, and over that time we have served as community liaison for probably about 6 dozen or more projects for the city of San Diego, pipeline projects. And so we have a lot of experience in doing this type of community outreach. And I'm thrilled to be in the presence and assisted on this project by Ron Lacey. Ron and I have been colleagues doing outreach for the San Diego Pure Water Project for the last 10 years. And Ron has just a ton of experience in community outreach. He also worked in the mayor's office, Mayor Sanders, and also for council district for George Stevens. So we've got a lot of experience here working on this project, and we're very proud of how responsive we've been in these last projects, and how we will be for how we'll address your concerns and just make this a nice, smooth win-win for everybody. And I also want to tell you, I'm fascinated with this camera, watching all the pictures up there. I have no idea how it does it, but I thank you for taking it off the screen, because my OCD was like, I was just going to look at that. Also joined online tonight by representatives of our design build team. Our design firm is Michael Baker International, and our contractor is TC Construction. So they have combined to design and build this project. They will be able to answer all the technical questions that you may have. And we also have the city project team, members of the city project team online. So if you have any questions, please hold them to the end of this quick presentation, and then we will get you some answers. So this is the Adams North Improvements Project, and it has officially begun. Next slide, please. The city of San Diego is always looking to improve the infrastructure. They've identified areas in the Normal Heights neighborhood to improve the water and the sewer. The goals was to reduce the chances of any water main breaks, and also to make it much easier for maintenance. Sometimes we're taking things out of easements and we're putting them in the city right of way. So it's just a win-win for the community for us to be able to do these projects. Next, please. So what we're doing is we're replacing over 1.5 miles of existing AC asbestos cement water mains with PVC water mains that will last about 100 years. So this will be the only time that you get a presentation for this area that we're doing, unless you're around in 100 years. We're also going to be constructing approximately 0.2 miles of new water mains, and then other improvements include water services. These are the lines that go from the main to the water meter outside the properties. Valves and the appurtenances include air valves. They may include cathodic protection, all these little things, that the fittings that go into building a pipeline. And also fire hydrants will be installed or relocated. There's a certain standard where the fire hydrants need to be within a certain amount of feet. So in designing this project, they're making sure that the fire hydrants are all within code. And yes, we may impede some parking by putting fire hydrants in a place where there wasn't a hydrant before, but we'll talk to the residents. But remember, these hydrants are being put in the city's right of way. Next, please. For the sewer, just a little more than 0.5 mile of existing vitrified clay and concrete pipe sewer will be replaced with the PVC pipes. We're going to rehabilitate about 1.25 miles of existing VC sewer mains, and we're going to install new sewer manholes, and we're going to rehabilitate other manholes. And if you haven't seen the process of rehabilitating manholes, it's pretty cool. And also the installation of manholes is nice because they go deep, and it's amazing how they find exactly where the lines are and how it flows. I am in awe of engineers and what they do. I can't do it. I can just talk about it, but the way they do it is great. And if you ever feel like just walking up and asking if you can take a look, and they put a hard hat on you and have you peek down the hole. Go ahead. And part of every city project involves improving curb ramps. And when I say improving, the ADA standards change all the time. So part of these pipeline projects include the assignment for the builder to improve the ADA ramps, bring them up to code. In some places, we may not be going just right on the street corner. It may be off in the middle of the street, which gives a nice line to a curb ramp on the other side of the street. But when we do that, there may be some street parking that gets eliminated or some landscape, but remember, that's all within the city's right of way. And then we were tipped off that there was concern about the intersection at Arthur and Mansfield, which does not have curb ramps. It's missing 3 curb ramps. Those curb ramps will be installed, and the other one that's there will be upgraded to meet the current standards. So that area is included. And also, if you didn't get one, we have the handout, the fact sheet here that has the map of the location of where we're working. So if you didn't get one, let us know. I mean, we were able to spread them out before a couple of the people came in a little later, but that map is there. All right, so when we work in neighborhoods like this, and this is all residential, we are going to be impacting parking. When we're working, we are required by the city to put out temporary no parking signs at least 72 hours ahead of time. Please pay attention to the dates and also the hours. If you see that the dates may have expired and we're still working in there, give me a call and we'll get that, we'll get that corrected. But if we are working in that area and you have not moved your car, you will get towed. The project will also have city-approved traffic control. What we're doing when we're closing the streets or maybe doing a temporary detour isn't random. It's studied, it's signed up. So the traffic control is approved. Trench restoration, the area that we dig up will be trenched. The trench will be covered with an asphalt covering at the end of working in that area. And then at the end of that project, I'll tell you how we're going to go ahead and cover up that trench with pavement, but I'll explain that in just a couple of seconds. And then of course, our best management practices for erosion control. We don't want anything going down the drains. The city keeps a really close eye on on what the debris of these projects, and the contractor could face a fine. They don't want that. So we are very careful as to protecting what goes down the drains and within the street and dust, etc. Next slide, please. So we are now in our first phase of construction. We're on Eugene Place from Raymond over to East Mountain View, and then a little section of East Mountain View down to Arthur, and a little finger there on Arthur. That's where we're starting now with the sewer. Our construction started this week, and we are on schedule to go through the summer of 2027. This is a design build project. What the city does is they put these projects out to bid, and engineering firm and a construction firm team up. They decide their approach and also their costs. They submit that to the city in competition with other design build teams. The city scores these and then has their little formula as to how much they rate for the plans, how much they rate for the total overall budget, and they give the award. And again, the award for this project went to Michael Baker International and TC Construction. And again, I do want to say our project schedule is subject to change. So we will let you know if anything changes, but right now, summer of 2027. Okay, so we received some questions ahead of time, and I want to go ahead and address these now. There's an undergrounding project that's coming in this area. We have coordinated with the undergrounding project, and they will follow us in terms of street resurfacing. We can't go curb to curb and then have someone come in within 3 years and tear it all up. So what you're going to get there is trench restoration, but I'll tell you that more in a second. And so the undergrounding project will follow our sewer water project. All right, so about the resurfacing, because we're not going to be going curb to curb, and we will repair the trench 6 feet from where the trench is, 6 feet there to so about like a 12-foot area of the trench. So that'll come at the end of the project. Asbestos cement. You hear the word asbestos, and you think, oh my God, my water is going through asbestos pipe. Don't worry, not a health hazard. No health hazard associated with the EC pipe. Next, please. Will the water pressure be increased? Well, there will first be a decrease in water pressure, but we are going to utilize our 2-inch high line along the curb. These are either pipes. These are pipes that go along the curb that hook into your water meter. Because they're 2-inch and they're serving a large area, you're not going to get as high pressure as you would if we were on the water main. So want to let you know that if you see a high line in front of your house, your water pressure isn't going to be the same as it was, but it will come back once we set you up with the main line. And also regarding the high lines, please exercise caution when parking next to a high line. Don't park on it. it'll break and it'll knock the water out for everybody down the line, and then it has to come and get repaired. It does happen. We do our best to educate the public about this. We just ask, if you see somebody parking close to a high line, you know, just do a neighborly thing and say, hey, you know, watch the pipe, because we want to make sure we have water. The new water main on Collier Avenue will improve hydrant flow capacity. And just know that the hydrants, before they get put into service, they are pressure tested to meet the current standards. So we don't anticipate that you will have any loss in that water pressure. The state approved this assembly bill, the daylighting law. It went into effect January 1st, and this prevents parking at intersections within 20 feet of an intersection. They call it daylighting because they want people to be able to see the daylight of what's around the corner and reduce the number of accidents at intersections. So the curbs at intersections will be painted red for about 20 feet. The sidewalk repair. We will not be repairing sidewalks. This is a city pipeline project, a public utilities project. There will be some panels that are adjacent to the curb ramps that will get new panels, but we're not going down the streets to repair sidewalks. Next slide, please. Drainage issues. Our engineering firm, Michael Baker, looking at methods to improve drainage in conjunction with where the curb ramps are, because we want to make sure that we don't flood out those curb ramps. What we will not be doing is we will not be leveling out any streets. We had a question about, will Collier, will the crossing there be level? This project will not do that. If we can urge you to go to another part of the city and urge them to do it, and you do that by going on to the Get It Done website and filling out a ticket and saying, hey, you know, you may want to take a look at this, but that is not in the scope of our project. And finally, can community serve cookies, coffee to the crew? Please start with cookies and coffee and then work your way up to full meals. So thank you. And then we'll go ahead and take some questions.
I think we'll start with the board and Kenny.
Okay, and I have folks online, you know, Michael Baker, TC, City, feel free to jump in.
Sure, we'll probably go board Zoom room.
Okay.
Thank you, Vic. I'm Kenny. Is there a similar project for south of Adams?
Is there a similar project in line for south of Adams? That would be City. Do we know if anything's in the works for south of Adams?
I believe that there is, but I'm not quite sure of the schedule. I'll look into it and I can follow back up with the board here after the meeting.
Okay, thank you. We'll get you an answer on that one. Yes.
Yeah, thank you for the presentation. I have two questions. When they do this work, are they also going to replace the water meters with smart water meters? Is that part of the project?
Are water meters part of the appurtenances on this?
No, they won't be. We're going to be replacing the services up to the existing water meters and connecting up to them.
Thank you. And a second question. So just I understand the street repaving issue. So you're not going to be repaving the street because we're going to be utility undergrounding shortly after. So hopefully after the utility undergrounding, we'll get the streets repaved.
That's for someone else to decide. Again, this is public utilities, and that would be the street division that will determine that. So, you know, again, council office, get it done. Let them know.
But Vic, to add on to that, so there are certain streets where, you know, we aren't going to have any conflicts with undergrounding, where the streets division and transportation department are looking at, you know, if there is funding for full width repaving. So there may be some streets that do end up getting full curb to curb replacement, but that is still being worked out, and so we'll see kind of how things shake out on that.
All right, thank you.
Okay, thank you. Before we go to Kim, I'll just tack on to that. I'll lobby for, Mansfield between Adams and Collier. I think that's our worst street. And it's also not on the, street improvements, maps.san Diego, does not have it listed for repairs in the foreseeable future.
Is it included in the undergrounding?
It's not included in anything ever for all time.
All right, so we heard the urge for Mansfield.
Just that one section. They're actually going to repave north of Collier, but that project is gonna stop at Collier. I don't know why, so that may be some coordination you wanna get.
Okay, thank you for that.
Please.
Yes.
Red curb for the daylighting will
Yeah.
also be red curb installed, adjacent to the fire. Again, things remain.
That's a good question, because a lot of places, they don't red curb fire hydrants, it's just, you have to do it on the honor system, yeah. Will we be red curbing fire hydrants?
Yes.
Good question, yeah.
Yes.
Question for the, you have parking signs that go up 72 hours beforehand.
Yes.
Is there an anticipated duration for what that's gonna impact in each area?
Yes, and what the contractor does is they put the dates on. So they'll say no parking from October 7th to maybe November 1st, Monday through Friday, 7 AM to 4 PM.
So potentially a month long of no parking.
Oh, yeah, whatever the dates say in that particular zone, yes. But again, if you find that those parking signs are still out there and they're outdated, call me. Because we want to.
Duration of that, I'm just wondering what the impact is across the different areas.
Well, we will be working in different phases. We're not gonna do the whole project at once, so we'll be no
Yeah.
parking. Yeah, certain areas.
Yeah, it won't necessarily be a whole month or anything, but, they will be, in communication with, the residents in the area. They're gonna be putting up door hangers to inform everyone of anticipated dates and, but yeah, things will move in phases, so each street will, have some no parking signs, for, however long it's gonna be, whether it's a week or 2 weeks or, but yeah, they'll be, the contractor and Vic will be in contact with everyone.
The more notice you can give the residents.
Well, we're required to give at least 3 days, and thank you for mentioning that, Kyle. I think I may have skipped a slide to talk about the outreach that we've done. In addition to this, this meeting right here, we sent out a letter last month to everyone within 300 feet of the project that explained the project and had the project map. And then we are required to put door hanger notices out at least 5 days before we start a phase, and also give you at least 5 days notice ahead of any water shut-off, scheduled water shut.
Is there any construction equipment staging or noise implications?
Staging, do we have a staging area yet?
I know the contractor was looking at potentially finding an off-street staging area. I'm not entirely sure if they've acquired that, but there may be staging on the street at least for the start of the project.
Yeah,
We may have some suggestions because there were some noise complaints that were brought to us and resolved.
Okay.
And we wouldn't want to open up those wounds again.
Can you email me?
Yes,
That.
I'll give you a map on where we don't want to be and maybe some places where we might actually be. I'm thinking like the parking lot at the mill, 35th and Adams. That's a dead space. SPG&E has staged there before. It's just a matter of working with the current owner.
Okay, all right, thank you. I'll look at everything.
I'm thinking at Arcanelli gets temporary until the main line gets.
Yes, yeah, highlights.
Are there timelines associated with that are getting communicated to the residents?
We haven't in the past. It's been when they're ready to get the water main back up and running. Because we're getting this water main in, and that water main has to sit for several, I think it's 30 days that a water main has to sit before we go ahead and test it and bacteria test and hook up. So The High Line will be there for a while.
If residents have any issues with any part of this, is there a way for them to contact you?
My office,
Okay.
yeah,
And
we're the
they
community
follow
liaison, and we will go ahead and farm out, get answers for you.
Okay.
Yeah.
And then is there anything else that we should let residents know or prepare for?
Yes, you won't have to go through this for another 100 years.
Okay. Yeah, I have a few questions, let's see, on the High Lines and other educational material. We can use our newsletter and subscribers to get the word out.
That's
And we have
wonderful.
some social media presence, so we can kind of get the buzz going about, don't park on the High Line.
Thank you.
Well, I'm trying to ask a question. Hello?
Yes,
Hello?
Francis,
Okay, could I ask a question, please?
sure, go ahead.
Oh, okay, I had my hand up. I didn't know if you saw it.
Oh, yeah, I'll go
yeah.
after you.
I'd like to know, please, if there's a design yet for, you talked about new curb cuts, putting in new curb cuts. Has that design been finalized? Have the locations been finalized? And if so, is there a map of those intended curb cuts? And is that map available to us?
Kyle, Sabine, do one of you want to handle that one?
I'll take that one. Yeah, we're still working on the curb ramp design. So we are finalizing the locations and what improvements will be made. We are still working on that. We could potentially provide an exhibit if that's what you're looking for. So we don't typically do that, but
Yeah, that's what I was hoping for. When do you think you might finalize the design?
We're going to be doing that over the next few months. The curb ramps won't be installed for quite a while. That's typically one of the last things to be constructed in the project. So, they won't actually be constructed for probably until 2027, given that the project is running through summer of 2027. So that's quite a ways off, but yeah, we're finalizing the design in the next few months.
Could you, when, I don't know how to do this, if it's for the next few months, but whatever you have, information you have available, or when you have it available, could you make sure that the planning group sees it, or how, I mean,
Mr. Coogan just offered the newsletter and social media on his part that I can go ahead and feed to him that he can help disseminate.
Yeah, I think that, I think Vic will be our point of contact at their end, and then I'll be the point of contact at this end in routing, I'll reflect it out. I forgot, Frances is one of our board members. She's a treasurer and is also on our undergrounding committee, so she's been following the undergrounding project. And Frances, I forgot to ask you, what is your favorite Halloween costume?
No, don't, oh, no. Well, when my daughter was very young, I made her a ladybug costume, and it was just so cute. I think it's my favorite, all-time favorite.
Great, thank you. Go ahead, I'll go ahead and unpin the video here. And so I was wondering why PVC and not ABS for sewer. I'm more familiar with ABS being used for sewer, or for at least at the residential level.
I will turn that over to project team or Michael Baker.
Yeah, so PVC is kind of the city's preferred material for both sewer and water, although we do in the design we do leave it sort of up to the contractor to supply an approved material, and a lot of times it comes down to cost of materials, and so PVC is generally the most available and affordable for installation. So that is ultimately why on pretty much any City of San Diego project replacing existing utilities, you're going to see PVC being installed. But there are certain design considerations where if it's not a standard project, or if we're deeper than usual or shallower than usual, then we'll look at other specialty pipe materials.
Okay, if it wears out in less than 100 years, I'll come find you.
All right. You might do to look in the cemetery, but appropriate for Halloween.
There's been a concern about property lines in the area, most of it having to do with the pins on the sidewalk, but I believe some monuments have been buried in the asphalt. Will you be searching for those as you dig?
We have surveyed, don't we, team?
Yes, and we will be. We provided maps to the contractor of all of the known monuments in the area. And so, any of those markers or monuments will be noted and preserved, and the city will have their survey crew making sure that those monuments are perpetuated throughout construction. So, if there are monuments that were lost during previous construction, those may, if they're dug up, they may be able to reinstate those, but I don't think I've come across a project where we've done that necessarily.
Okay, if you stumble across any, we would be interested in knowing about them in order to resolve some other things that we've been working on.
Okay, thank you.
Okay.
Let's see. I think those are all of my questions. So, yes.
Yes, sir.
Are residents access to their driveways and garage is gonna be impacted?
At times, yes, when the crews are, when we're trenching right near you or right in front of you, you will be impacted. And so it's important that you follow along where the crews are and kind of judge your ingress and egress out of that. If you see that they're coming your way, you may want by 7 o'clock in the morning, want to get out and go park your car elsewhere that you can, or if you come home at 2 in the afternoon, park your car and come back and then pull your car in after things wrap up. Because if you really have to get in, you really have to get out, they have to go grab a plate, put the plate over the trench, move that in, have you come in, out. And if we're doing that for everybody, we'll never get the project done. So we ask for cooperation on that, just to be mindful of where we are progressing. And if you have any questions, like they need me to answer, hey, are you guys gonna be here or here? TC Construction has the best rapport with the public. The foreman for TC are fantastic in letting the public know, being approachable is what I want to say, and being approachable and having the answers. But we ask that you kind of just keep an eye out and plan for it.
Okay. Are you guys gonna have plates or ramps if on opposing sides of the curb, you guys are working on that? So with wheelchairs, get up onto the street or all of you guys are.
I'm not understanding.
I think that other access points put in temporarily for ADA access while the construction is going. But that sounds like a logistics problem for the construction.
I will.
Yeah. So, yeah, in fact, I can jump in on that. Yeah, I mean the curb ramps, each one is only going to take maybe 2 to 3 days, maximum a week to install, and they they'll go kind of one by one or by intersection. So it will be a limited impact during that time, but once they're installed, the installation is fairly quick compared to the pipeline installation.
So there won't be any ADA ramps or anything.
Temporary?
There will be during construction of the pipelines. It's just when they're replacing the curb ramps at that time, then they will be, and they'll put signs up for sidewalk detours as well.
Also, I wanted to chime in. This is Janice Jarr with the City of San Diego. Per the city standards, the contractor is only allowed to demo 2 of the 4 curb ramps, preferably not on the same side at a time. So not all the curb ramps are going to be blown out and unusable. They will do them 2 per intersection at a time. And normally, and they can't keep ramps open for longer than 3 days without pouring them back. So the impact is going to be limited, and there will always be a path of travel or a usable ramp, at an intersection during the construction.
Thank you.
Janice, thank you, and Mr. Chafee, first time that question has ever come up for one of my projects, so thank you.
That was a good answer.
Yeah.
All right, let's go on to Zoom. Does anyone on Zoom have a question? Looking for a raised hand. I'm not seeing any. We'll come back just in case. And in the room, please. Questions? Comments, concerns? Yes.
Comment. 6, 7 years ago, when North Mountain View and West Mountain View were, the water lines and the sewer lines were renewed, so to speak. We were told that the undergrounding would come right around behind them and that then the streets would get paved. We haven't seen the undergrounding or the paving. Is that going to happen this time for this area?
Does someone from the city have a comment about the undergrounding project?
As far as any previous projects, I'm not familiar with those, but as far as our current, CIP projects go, we are in coordination with the undergrounding project, and they are on schedule to start in 2027, which is sort of when our, public utilities projects for water and sewer does end. I can be more than happy to put you in contact with the particular project manager that's working on the undergrounding projects for any more information if you prefer.
I think
we would appreciate that.
Yeah, I think our undergrounding committee will be on that in terms of
another comment. You said that the upgrade on Collier Street between West Mountain View and 3rd and 3rd would increase the water pressure for the hydrants. That didn't happen on West Mountain View and North Mountain View.
No, I didn't say it would increase. I didn't say it would increase. It said it will be brought to whatever standards are current.
No, the West Mountain View and North Mountain View are not up to standards, either one.
I'll leave that up to the engineering firm.
Yeah. I have some questions on pressure versus fire flow, but I'll take that offline.
Okay.
It's a little out of scope here. Any other comments, questions? Yes.
My name is Judge Stanford again. Thank you for presenting. You've done this before, obviously, and you hear a lot of talk about, requirements and standards. Obviously, I don't want to piggyback on what you said. We don't want anything undone here or left unfinished, right? I mean, some of the limitations that are put on this community are based upon your, limitations and requirements. Such as like, we don't know, the schedule could change on parking, shutdowns and stuff like that. We will be flexible with that, it seems, is that required, that's a requirement and standard by your company and it's just the standard of the city. But if things are left undone, our flexibility is not met by the standards of the city and the government and how it's providing services for this community. So if that happens again, I understand that, what the city worker is saying, she has no connection with former projects. But this project can be done correctly by standards and requirements. As long as you're, assuring us that that's going to happen, that situation not take place with this one.
Right. Remember, what our particular project is a pipeline project. We're not a street project. We're not the underground. We are total separate entity on that.
You are in coordination with the underground and all that.
The folks at the city level on the project.
$21 million, does that include the underground will be paving?
No.
So that needs to be double separate.
Yeah, the whole underground project is a completely different beast than what we're doing.
Thanks very much.
Great. Okay,
I just, like a clarification question for the water project pressure, the plan for it to be brought back. To what it is now, or to like the standard, just because it sounds like in the neighborhood, it's not really up to the city standards, so I'm just asking. If it be brought to like the standard it's at now, or the higher city standard.
Right, who on the project team wants to take up the hydrant pressure issue?
Well, the water pressure in the area is dictated by the pressure zone that the city set, which is, based on elevation and, I don't want to get too, into the weeds on the technical part of it, but, essentially, we are adding a new main on Collier. And so with the new mains, there will be reductions in head loss, so that's just little things that hamper flow. So they will be testing the hydrants to make sure that there's adequate pressure for fire flow, and that's what the main on Collier is going to do, is ensure that there's adequate flow for the area. So I think I hope that answers the question. I could only make out a little bit of it, honestly.
sure. I'll go ahead and I'll add in a link to the fire hydrant map. It's interactive. You can drill down to a single fire hydrant and see when it was last tested and what its current condition is, what size main it's attached to. So we'll be sure to include that in the meeting minutes.
Very cool. Any other questions? I'm so sorry. Okay.
Yes, but why don't we take this as the last question and then.
Thank you. I think it'd be helpful.
Okay.
I know we have a schedule to keep, and I know there's vagueness about what the schedule is gonna be per area that they're working on, right? I understand that. The situation I'm concerned about is like, not really concerned, but it'd be very helpful for everybody in the community to know where it's gonna be at any given time. The overall map, you said you had a map. Could that be posted on your website and or the Normal Heights community website? So everyone kind of has at least a vague idea what's going on with that. They don't only have 72 hours. Yeah, this is the first time I've heard about this. If I haven't heard about it, I haven't been attending the meetings, so that's my opinion. But other people may not in the community, the whole community is not here, so. It might be helpful to have everyone on page, because if everyone has information, they're less,
Right.
aggravated by changes in their environment.
Right. Well, the capital improvements, CIP has a hot map that you can go on to see where, projects are. So that'll show you where the Adams North project is. We have the handout here that has the map on it. In terms of telling you where we're going to be at a certain time, that's not really a standard practice, because things happen in construction. And then if we were to tell you that we're gonna be here in December and we get held up and all of a sudden now it gets pushed back to February, you're gonna back to us go, well, you said it would be in December. Well, we're construction, things happen when you open up the earth and you start to get stuff, and we may have a supply problem with pipes or stuff. So what we do is we let you know that this project will be from now until the summer. And as we go through each phase, we will provide a notice of where we are and yeah. And so again, this first phase that we're in, is Eugene, Lower Mountain View, a little part of Mountain View, and Arthur. And when we, move to our next one, we'll, let you know. We can also provide updates like that through the planning group here and through your social media. It's a great resource, and I'm very, very happy to have that in our arsenal. Thank you for that.
Okay. Thank you very much.
All right, thank you guys. Great question. Thank you to the project team for handling the questions. I really appreciate that. We'll be back.
Thanks, Vic.
Right, we'll put that onto the website along with the minutes and the video and all that.
Excellent. All right.
Okay.
Thank you, Mr. Kruger. Thank you.
Great, thank you. Our next presentation is from Morgan Ruby.
Yes.
And it's a Mid-City Community Plan Update Ideas Report.
Yes, and I sent you the presentation, or I can hook up my laptop, whatever's easier for you.
Um,
I sent it around the start of the meeting.
let me check my email then. Here we are. PDF, very nice. Okay. Visible? And folks on Zoom can see that? Okay, go ahead.
Okay.
In fact, why don't you step just a little bit closer,
Sure.
because that's half our audience is in that little box.
Awesome. Well, good evening, everyone. My name is Morgan Ruby. I'm a senior planner with the city's planning department. And go to the next slide, please. I'm joined tonight with Alex Frost, principal planner. Next slide, please. So tonight we are here to talk about the draft ideas report. The agenda is just the overview of each element that we'll dive into specific to Normal Heights. So on the next slide, we'll go into a bit more about the draft ideas report. This plan we just released explores preliminary visions, frameworks, and concepts informed by public engagement and our existing conditions analysis. Public input to the draft report will help to inform the draft community plan. The first draft is anticipated for release this spring 2026. Next slide, please. So from the extensive community engagement we've conducted so far, and we are just entering our second round, we have come up with these draft visions and guiding principles. So just to name a few, we have clean, safe, and thriving communities, celebrate, honor, and diversity of cultures and places, innovative business districts to support community life, and there's a total of 12 that you can read in the draft ideas. Slide, please. So history and place. And sorry, these are pretty quick, so next slide again. So there is one potential historic district in Normal Heights, the Cartier Center. This is located on Adams Avenue between 33rd and 34th and about a half block north. There is currently one existing designated resource in the project area in the bottom left side of that map. The district is characterized by some Spanish colonial revival style. There is a mixed-use bungalow courts, the Art Deco streamlined modern style theater, and there is some historic commercial center still present today. So on to land use and economic prosperity. Next slide. So these are the framework of the land use section. So we're going to dive into place types, building types, and the land use concepts to help break down this chapter. So I'll dive into each of one of those now. So starting with place types, we have these proposed change areas, and the color is associated with the map from the preceding pages. I'll walk through each one. So the transit village place type is a mixed-use urban and community transit village with commercial, office, and the highest density of residential and employment uses. Next, transit corridor. This is mixed-use corridor with commercial, office, very high or medium density residential, and other uses oriented along the corridor with high-quality transit. Next up, Main Street. Mixed-use urban and community main streets such as Adams Avenue have small-scale development with a stronger focus on resistance to surrounding neighborhoods with high and medium density residential and employment uses. Next, transit neighborhood and residential. This is medium and low density residential, might have some corner stores, access to transit, jobs, and neighborhood serving uses within walking distance. Any other area, this is little to no change, including single family zoning and as well as some lower density residential areas, schools, civic, public land, parks, canyons. So on the next slide, building type. So these correlate within each, the building types you'll see within each of the place types. So you'll see the place types from the previous slide on the screen, and these are the building types you would see within each. So for example, in transit village and transit corridor, you might see
towers, you might see podium, courtyard buildings, moving into Main Street and transit neighborhoods. You might see more narrow lot infill, townhomes, duplexes, that sort of building type. So on the next slide, before we move into the draft land use concept, these are some of the key considerations that we use making these up. So simple high-level framework, exploring multiple possibilities. So we have 5 land use concepts tonight with walking through. Incorporating diverse input from our first round of public engagement and informed data analysis and evolving. So these 5 draft land use concepts, eventually we're narrow them down and we will evolve them as we hear from community members. So on the next slide, I mentioned data informed analysis. So this is just a high level overview of what that looks like. So we asked ourselves, how do we grow to be more sustainable, equitable, and climate resilient? We analyze data such as smart growth, open space, fire and flood zones, fair housing, to name a few. Then we asked ourselves, how do we grow to support more affordable, walkable, bikeable, and transit-rich neighborhoods? So we analyzed transit, walk, and bike scores, existing land use and zoning, existing and future transit. And then under parks and public facilities, how do we plan for those to support our growth? So we looked at existing parks, public facilities, and the walkability around each of those. So that led us into developing our land use concept. So on the next slide, I'll walk through the first one. And again, there are 5 draft concepts. So this first concept focuses growth along activity hubs, transit corridors, and neighborhoods. You'll see very high and high density intensity along transit corridors and urban transit villages, those purple colors. And it reintroduces a mix of housing options and multifamily and some single family areas in that orange color. On the next slide, land use concept 2, this is pretty similar in the sense that it focuses growth along the activity hubs, transit corridors, and neighborhoods. It also has very high and high density intensity along transit corridors and urban transit villages. Where it differs from concept 1 is that it proposes additional change areas in high and moderate resource areas to affirmatively further fair housing. So you'll see that yellow color of that in point. On the next slide, land use concept 3. We're calling this back to the 1984 community plan because it replicates the general land use approach from the 1980s. It focuses growth at less overall density along the activity hub corridors, neighborhoods, and residential areas. And it reintroduces a mix of housing options that were allowed in the 1980s. And there is some change to single family areas. Land use concept 4 on the next slide, please. So the distributed growth, this concept focuses growth at less overall density along activity hubs, corridors, and all neighborhoods, and it distributes potential for new homes equally to everyone. So of all the land use concepts, this is the most equitably distributed change areas. It has the lowest density residential outside of transit neighborhoods, and it reintroduces a mix of multifamily housing options everywhere. Land use concept 5. So this concept focuses growth along activity hubs and transit corridors. So this is the highest density intensity of all the 5 concepts along the transit corridors and urban transit villages, and there's no change proposed to most of the multifamily and single family areas. So moving on to mobility, skip 2 slides here. So this is the currently planned pedestrian network in our facilities in Normal Heights. So this is broken up into intersection and mid-block projects that you'll see by that, located by those points, as well as corridor projects you see along Adams there. Intersection mid-block projects could be something like a crosswalk or curb extension, and corridor projects could be a median landscape area or a network of those intersections. Next, on the currently planned bicycle network. So this is, again, currently planned. It's to be evaluated on and expand through this planning process alongside the bike master plan update that's happening concurrently. So the solid lines are the bicycle facilities that are on the ground today, and the dashed lines are what are proposed. On the next slide, we'll get into transit. So the planned transit network, those greenish dashed lines are the next gen rapid bus network. So those are limited stops on the bus routes or typical transit network, but it also has some different infrastructure to speed up the transit route, such as it could be a transit, the priority signal or bus only lane. And then the proposed purple line, this is proposed by Sandag, and this is the draft potential alignment going two ways. This would connect the US-Mexico border to Mission Valley with two stops in City Heights. Along Elkhorn Boulevard and University at both at Fairmont. So moving on to park, public facilities and open space. So the next slide shows parks and community gardens. So there is a proposed park at Eugene Place, a little pocket park overlooking SR 15 there. The Charlton Park expansion, this is a pretty big project we're proposing. This is actually initially proposed in the 1984 Mid-City Communities Plan. We're just bringing it back. It would look at extending the freeway lid from University all the way up to Monroe to reconnect the neighborhoods that were previously dissected by the freeway. And lastly, the Ward Canyon Park Community Garden, sorry, on the same slide there. Number 3, so we heard a little bit of interest tonight from the Community Gardens Ward Canyon, so we're acknowledging that that is. And on the next slide, urban forestry.
I have a request to.
Sure.
The name of the community garden would be Normal Heights Community Garden, even though it's a word.
Thank you. Yeah, we can absolutely change that.
Okay.
Normal Heights. Thank you.
Thanks.
For urban forestry, this is looking at the street tree network throughout Mid-City. So the thicker lines you see on the map are refer to a specified street tree list. So 1 or 2 consistent trees for a cohesive neighborhood character. You know, we have the jacarandas, the Dakota Parkas along Adams. Those lighter green color corridors can use any city approved street tree. And any street that does not have one of those green lines, it either doesn't have a parkway currently where we could plant street trees, or it has a network of palm trees. So on the next slide here, we'll get into green corridors. Green corridors are an expanded landscape parkway and an enhanced parkway with a potential for a bicycle facility adjacent to it. We're looking at that on 40th Street, adjacent to the SR 15. And then outside of Normal Heights, but next door in Kensington, we're also looking at Terrace Drive and Monroe Avenue. Next slide. The public facilities, these are potential future projects that we are considering. That includes the Normal Heights Rec Center. We're locating in a possibility for this where the post office is today, and a potential new library shared with your neighbors over in Kensington, possibly in the Vaughn Shopping Center. And again, these are potential long range.
The Vaughn to the right.
That's right.
Oh, okay.
And on the next slide, you can again skip to, so urban design. So study areas, the draft ideas report has identified 8 study areas throughout Mid-City. These study areas are related to land use, urban design, mobility, and public spaces, and have come up with some high level concepts. One of those 8 study areas is in Normal Heights along Adams Avenue. We are also looking at potentially identifying more study areas, and there will be refinement to the study area that I talked through tonight. So going through Adams Avenue, next slide. So Adams Avenue has a very active mix of uses. It is the center of community activity in Normal Heights and in Kensington. It is characterized by small lots and existing small scale development. There is access to multimodal transportation opportunities, or options, and it has neighborhood serving uses and local commercial. So on the next slide, we get into the mobility context. As we mentioned, it has a high active transportation capacity. There's a lot of people walking and biking. There is a history of bike collisions throughout the corridor, one pedestrian collision, and there is a high demand for on-street parking. So potential early identified needs are opportunity for curb extensions as well as permissive left turns. And there is a planned rapid bus route, a rapid version of the 11. So the preliminary concept, so this looks at the heights and densities oriented towards Adams Avenue. The heights would transition then outward towards the single family homes. Back on Adams Avenue, we have active ground floors, a mix of uses, and we would identify community, commercial areas and loft or increased housing density and community amenities. So next slide here. So what's next? You can visit our website at planmidcity.org. Our next working group meeting is on October 29th. I think that's at the Park de la Cruz gym. We'll cover topics from the draft ideas report, such as history and place, urban design, mobility, parks, public facilities, and open space for all of Mid-City. But we'll dive into it deeper. We'll have our working group members there as well as this open to the public. You can provide comments to the draft ideas report, which is linked online. There's a public comment forum, and there's another 2 months to leave comments. So please take the time to really digest the ideas report, especially the land use concepts, and leave some feedback. We also are just launching our second round of public engagement. So part of that is coming here tonight into all the planning groups. We're also going to be hosting office hours. So those are the opportunity for one-on-one meetings. So that's open to anyone in the public. You can schedule 15-minute sessions with us to really talk through any of the ideas in the draft ideas report or in general related to the community plan update. And you can always send us an email at planmidcity@sandiego.gov. One of us will get back to you, and we are in the midst of planning some additional outreach events over the next few weeks as well. So you can sign up for our email blast list on the website. And with that, we are available for questions.
Everybody in this room is committed to being here on the 18th because they're already in this building, so we know they can get here.
Awesome. You mean the 29th? Oh, no, the 18th.
The 18th, right here, 3 o'clock to 5 on the weekend, so us 9 to 5ers can still attend. So I'll be seeing you here.
Awesome.
And I'll see all you here too.
Yeah, you are welcome to attend the other ones too. If the Normal Heights date doesn't work for you, you can still talk about Normal Heights. That's the one located in City Hunter. Yeah. But there is a link to register online to make an appointment, and we'll have a couple planners available with that. All right, so any questions? Yes.
Just a quick one, is the post office planning to leave?
Not necessarily. This is just a very far out. We're looking at suitable sites that could potentially host a use of a recreation center, so that would require some size, and that is there is limited suitable. So we're just identifying that now as a potential site. We haven't done any outreach yet for the site for the property owner.
And then an unrelated follow-up. You mentioned that you're looking for additional proposed study areas. One that I would recommend would be El Cajon Boulevard between the 805 and the 15. That's been a mess for a long time. It could use some help.
Awesome, thank you.
Yes, John. Well, we're gonna do, just so you know, we're gonna do about 5 minutes of questions and then we're gonna take a break.
You mentioned the 2 corridors for trees. You mentioned palm trees.
So the city does no longer propose palm trees. The reason we didn't include it there is because those streets currently have such a cohesive network of palm trees. We're not looking to promote that. We're not looking to take it away.
There's a great tree to plant.
There is plenty of wood.
I'm gonna bounce to Danielle on Zoom.
Thanks, Paul. Can you hear me?
Yes.
Awesome. Thank you. Very good. So my question is a general question about Parks and Rec. According to the Parks and Rec master plan that was just promoted a few years back, each planning group is supposed to have data for how park deficient they are. So far in this process with the working group and the Mid-City Community Plan update, I've only seen a number for how deficient Mid-City in general of the 4 planning groups all smashed together number, instead of each individual planning group telling us what the deficiency in parks are. In Kensington, we know we're 90% deficient. We only have 10% of the parks we should have. I'd like to see that number for Normal Heights, City Heights, and Eastern area published at some point. It wasn't in the initial draft of existing conditions, and I haven't seen it here. And it would also be great to see each individual neighborhood, and I'm not sure what a definition of neighborhood is. I know in City Heights there's like 15 or 18 neighborhoods. Eastern area has 6 neighborhoods. I'm not sure what Normal Heights has neighborhood wise, but I haven't seen your goal of a park for every neighborhood spelled out here in the draft plan ideas report also. So those are my 2 questions: park deficiency numbers and a park for every neighborhood. So if you could address those, that'd be great. Thanks.
Yeah, thank you. We do work closely with our parks team. We are the community planning team, but we do work closely with them. We meet with them regularly. So I'll pass your comments along to them. They will be better able to identify responses to those. And maybe that work has already been done. I know they're the ones looking closely and proposing parks throughout the communities.
Good morning, and I can add to that. Hi, Daniela, Alex Ross, principal planner. So we have the Recreation Valley Point, the by community planning area. It's in the appendices of the city atlas, existing conditions report. So there's a separate link if you go to the website. So it's all there using the 2023 population. So that's there.
Thank you.
Okay. And let's go to David in the back, and then I'll take Paul Jameson online.
Since you mentioned planting trees, when you plan on planting trees, we have a large amount of male trees, are you planning on planting females? Because there's a large deal of like, people with, allergies, and more male trees is not going to, you're going to make it work, so is that part of picking at least, balancing it out?
Yeah, so the team on the ground that handles that, they do take that into consideration. And I know there is some confusion at nurseries. It can be hard to identify at early stages. And sometimes you think you're getting female trees or male trees, and you don't know until like blooms happen later down the line, which is more of an issue with the nursery and just, no one calls it hard to tell trees. But that is kind of beyond the scope of the planning process. This is for more like the next 20 to 30 years of growth in mid-city communities. So we're just identifying right now where could we plant and maybe what trees those look like, but that is good feedback because we could incorporate that into our policies to specify a certain variety of trees.
Okay.
So thank you.
I'm gonna go to Paul Jameson online, go to the corner, and then we'll take one after that, and then we'll go for a break. And then if there's any other questions, comments, I encourage, bring them to the working sessions. So, yes, I'm sorry, Paul, you had your hand raised there.
Yeah, thanks for the presentation. Can you all hear me okay?
Yes, loud and clear.
Great. So several months ago, there was a meeting at Normal Heights Planning Group here with a really huge turnout of bicyclists, and it was about their experiences riding on Adams Ave. And people talked about how dangerous it felt and the high speeds of vehicles and, what could we do to make it safer? I lost track, but I think a letter might have been written to the city or to a council member. But regardless, I'm not sure if you can show a slide right now, but was it slide 31 that showed the Adams Ave corridor and potential improvements there? I saw, there's a mention of bicyclists, but is there any way to include some language, yeah, on that right side? Like, I've got captions on my phone, it's blocked. Let's see, potential for curb extensions. So potential needs, I don't really see anything from that meeting where we talked about our needs reflected in this on this page. And I know you've got limited space and there's many other needs out there, but that would be my request is if we could somehow convey what 30 or 50 bicyclists communicated in this public forum and somehow get that into the plan update to just say, we would really like some safer bike facilities on Adams Avenue through Normal Heights. Thanks.
Yeah, thanks, Paul. Great question. Yeah, so these study areas were developed before we came to the last Normal Heights meeting, so we haven't had an update yet. Right now, we're still presenting the report that was released in August. So we haven't seen new things yet that'll come in the next draft. But I hear and appreciate your comments. I myself rode my bike here tonight on Adams Avenue. I'll be taking it home. So I definitely appreciate your insight as well as some other cyclists in the room. And those are things we're looking at. There is also, you're probably already aware, but for others, there is the bike master plan update that's happening as well right now. They are taking public input. You can even go to, there is the Cyclist Diaz event where they're shutting down a good stretch of University Avenue on Sunday, October 26th. We'll have some city staff there representing the bike master plan and mobility master plan update. So that would be another good venue to share that input with, but we are working closely with those mobility teams and we do share public comments as well. So I know they're the ones analyzing potential for their.
Yeah.
Thanks for being, very good, thank you, comprehensive, presentation, thank you. I have a yes or no question and then a further question. Is the garden, the normalized community garden considered a park, which would be incorporated into the efficiency in this area? Yes or no?
That would be a community garden, so it's an amenity within, inside of it.
So not a park.
The community garden is not itself a park, but it's like an amenity. It would have a recreation value point added to it.
Okay.
If completed.
When completed.
Yes, when completed. I think as of right now, that area would not be included as a park, as park acreage because it's fallow and it's locked area. Is that correct?
I'm not sure about that. Do you know about if that area is not included as part of acreage?
I think there's certain points that you can generate for a proposed community garden itself. I don't know about the acreage. I think we look at the total plan for community acreage.
That's great.
Yeah.
We're gonna be hitting you up for the fees. For the, for any permit. And we've already agreed to pay. You know me, I'm gonna ring you up. So we'd like coverage for the conditional use permit, any fees that are attached to that, any fees that are attached to the installation of the water, which we're actually paying for the construction and installation of the water.
Wow.
And we'd also like to have some underwriting on the insurance.
Okay.
There you go.
Just let us know. Park and Rec obviously, deals with the.
Oh, no, I'm calling you.
Yeah. Could make that happen.
Okay. Question, real quick, sorry. Do we get a choice on which trees are planted? I know we have a lot of invasive species in the area that we mentioned, with the request for male plants, that's very smart. Histamines and all that. But native plants are sycamores, cottonwoods, and another one. Do we have a choice in those? I know it's so complicated, but.
Somewhat. There is, the city no longer, we have this tree selection guide, it's city approved trees. We no longer have any invasive species on that. Some non-native, but non-native that do well in this climate. So we're not necessarily going and taking out trees that were grandfathered in, right? But any future planning would go by that tree. In terms of tree preferences, we're open to that feedback. We're only specifying trees along those primary corridors. So on the map that was shared earlier, there's thick green lines and lighter green lines. If you recall, the thicker lines, the primary corridors like Adams Avenue, University, Elkhorn Boulevard, these major corridors, those are where we're specifying cohesive trees. And we're pretty much right now specifying the ones that are already there today within, several block increments. So a lot of jacarandas, a lot of portfolio carpets. I believe there's some Tijuana trees. Those are pretty good shade trees. The jacarandas are more for beautification. But if you have feedback and there's areas that we haven't identified yet, definitely leave a comment on the public comment form on my website.
Okay. We have one more. Question, comment?
Yeah.
You can take the last one then.
All right, so when you do these community plan updates, are you assuming that the purple line will be built at some point? Because it seems like that's gonna have a really big impact on how you plan the rest of the community, right? So was there an assumption built in there? Are you assuming it's not gonna be built or?
Yeah, great question, and Alex, please jump in if I misspeak, but because SANDAG is our regional transportation planning organization, what they have in their plans as a local municipality, we have to incorporate. We wouldn't be doing our due diligence if we didn't plan for it. To your point, if it doesn't get built, that's always a possibility. So we are planning for it because
if we don't, it's business as usual, right? But, incorporating it into our project, we can then identify potential future transit-oriented districts. And, regardless, it's already a transit corridor as is, so, it still makes sense to plan accordingly with, in terms of density intensity along that transit corridor. If the purple line does come to fruition, yeah, that'll be a much bigger plan. And obviously this is for the next 20 to 30, 40 years of growth. At that time, we would then probably be re-updating the community plan again, and hopefully by then we'll know if it has funding or not. But yeah,
To apply for any federal funding, we need to map it, right, have a plan, and then adjacent land use map it to get higher. So it always helps, to be aspirational. And more money.
Thank you. Great, thank you for your presentation. I'll put this in your presentation on the website, of course, and we can also work with you on any communications in our newsletter and social media.
Thank you.
Yep. Thank you.
Flyers with information on the Tower 101 meeting, so feel free to grab one on your way. Thank you, teachers.
It's fun to take a 10-minute break or keep us honest. And we're back. All right. Next on the agenda is the East Mountain View 35th and Arthur Traffic Calming Committee request.
Submitted. So, yeah, so we don't have, they said it could be up to 6 months for us to hear back.
Okay. First range or something.
Yeah, right.
Okay. Next up is approval of the minutes for September. Do we have a motion to approve?
Motion to approve.
Second. And second, okay. And we'll go ahead and take the vote. All in favor? Okay, so that, did you get the count?
I usually just say everyone, but.
Oh, I see. Everyone, but, okay. So let's go to the nays. Do we have any disapproves and then abstains? Okay, it's like 3/4 abstains. And reasons were attendance. I think. Okay. Next up is community updates from government representatives. We'll start with city. I got an update from Fatima from the mayor's office. Staff report. I'm going to breeze through this because it doesn't have a lot to do with Normal Heights. The Midway Rising project passed the planning commission. This is not in Normal Heights. And then there were 8,800 new homes permitted in 2024, making it a 2-year surge in housing production. Next is update on Caltrans delegate maintenance agreement along freeways near downtown. I believe this has to do with where the homeless encampments are on state property, and so highway patrol has to be called, or then they move over to city property and back and forth, and so now they're coming up with an agreement where they can do an interagency intervention. I don't believe we have representation from the office D9, Hila Rivera. My emails to Sarah bounced, and I have not heard a reply from her cell phone either. So I'll be contacting Sean's office to find out if she's still with the city or what. I'm a little concerned. Next is county. Do you have any representation from county, state, federal? Local organizations don't have a report on them from AABA. Does anybody have any information about AABA? Any goings on? I think we should reach out to Scott, to find out how. Yeah, usually we get a report on like, how many attendees, or did they make money? That'll be interesting. El Cajon Boulevard Business Association, did not see Gary. Normal Heights Community Association, Normal Heights Urban Arts, Adams Avenue, Adams Community Rec Advisory Group.
On the 24th of October, they're having like a Halloween theme thing. They're gonna have, it's with, Adams Avenue Elementary. I just got the email, and it was sent to you, Paul, from Michelle.
Oh, okay.
It's on the email.
I didn't see that.
And they have it 24th, they're having trick or trunk, they're having tacos, tamales, those cinnamon things, what are they called?
Churros.
Yeah, they're having that, and having games and different things. There's a big flyer
Okay.
from Michelle. It's in the park. I don't know if they're having the trunk or treat over the asphalt over at school. I don't know, but there's a big flyer, it's just in the email.
Okay.
Since you have,
I think I forwarded it out to everyone on the board. Okay. Normal Heights for Smart Growth. Community garden is still the big project. We've requested a meeting with the city to follow up on the infrastructure build, which would be the conditional use permit. We need to find out what kind of insurance is required, and what is involved in the actual permit. Emily had volunteered to help us draft the permit, because if they're having trouble getting enough staff time to actually write the permit, she would be able to write it for them so they could kind of tweak it and rubber stamp it. So that's the water, the permit, and we're investigating on insurance. So those are the three kind of business items that are happening. We need to get the water installed so that when we lay down the cardboard and the mulch, that we can actually start decomposing it with the water. But it is not a hard predecessor. We can lay out the cardboard and mulch on top of it and leave it dry until we get the water. We don't have to start watering it right away. So that's the good news, but we do have to get a permit for right of access in order to do that work. So next stop is the meeting with the city to discuss all four items. Meantime, Gun Selby is working with his contact. It's the plumber that would be doing the work, and that would be significantly less money than what the city would charge us for the same work, and faster too. I think the other thing on Normal Heights for Smart Growth is we reviewed a proposal by London Mortar and Associates for creating townhomes in San Diego. So this is a proposal that would allow larger lot sizes, things are like 5,000 square feet or larger, to be subdivided into, or actually have townhomes built on them that would be homes for sale. So some of the advantages of it were, it uses the existing envelope that you would use for ADU projects. So ADU project can squeeze on a lot of extra ADUs, as we know, and do a stack and pack up to 30 feet sometimes, and out to the limits of the lot line. This uses a similar envelope, but what you would end up with is you would end up with like 4 units that would have parking below and housing above. We would typically 2 and 3 bedroom units. So we'll be getting a better mix of units than we get with the ADUs. We would get off-street parking, which we don't get with the ADUs. So overall, it's sort of a better program than the ADUs, if you want to look at increasing housing density on lots. So anyway,
Just a question. So London Motor is trying to do these what was the?
London Motor Advisors works with the city on advising them on land use. mostly from a commercial perspective. So they commissioned a study from another, from a third party, and that report is available online. So it's an interesting report. I'll make sure that there's a link gets out to everybody. It's an interesting read. It has some examples. The areas that they're looking at primarily for the study were like Fairmont Mesa, Encanto, I think. There were 4 areas that they're not in the mid city. They were more of like where we have more suburbia, larger lots, single family homes that are on 5,000 or 7,000 square feet lots. Those areas could be infilled with this method and would create housing for sale rather than housing for rent. Thank you. I'm thinking we could get a presenter to show us what they have in mind, if that's of interest. Okay, I'm seeing some head nods.
But it's not for projects that are online.
Not necessarily, but because they're not specifying to the city where it would be done, then something I think we should keep an eye on, because like most programs, they're great on paper and then the city figures out how to mess them up. So, if we get in on the ground floor early and the city does like this and they start, and they start talking about it, at least we'll be up to speed on it. The advantage for the city is property taxes. They stand to make a lot of money through extra home ownership and taxes.
Excuse me.
Yes.
So on that project, does that impact all residential areas? So that townhouses could be built just like ADUs right now?
As written, yes. I think one of the key elements was that they're recommending that it not be used with any other program. So you can't combine it with complete communities, or you can't combine it with an affordable housing discount so you don't have to pay additional developer impact fees. So they're saying don't undercut the taxes that are associated with that build, because you're going to make it up on the property tax base later. Where these would go in, and I think the proposal says you could build a single townhome only needs 1,000 square feet. So if you had a 4,000 square foot lot, it could be feasible to squeeze it in. And knowing how developers like to cut corners, we could see it in other areas besides what they've recommended. So at this point, it's just a paper proposal that's being sent on to the city. Okay. Chair report, CPC and 2 weeks ago had a presentation from the city on inclusive public engagement. And that means that the city is going to work harder on communicating with the public. And that might mean using the vernacular in reports, or doing more community outreach and interacting with communities on surveys and polls, things like that. These are all things that the city already does, but they're instituting sort of a training program to formalize it. So, the other presentation at CPC was from the city of La Jolla. There's a group that wants to get incorporation for La Jolla to become a city. And I think what it is driving it is the same thing that we're seeing in every neighborhood. They get a lot of infill projects that they don't like. They get their hands tied on infill projects they do like. They have empty office space in the village they'd like to turn into affordable housing, but city code doesn't permit it. Yet at the same time, they're dealing with investors coming in, leaving one wall standing, and building something larger, and then selling it off to foreign investors, and it stands empty. So those are kind of the frustrations that they're dealing with, along with, of course, roads getting paved. But overall, I think their plan is sound. They've figured out how to how to get their city services from neighboring communities like trash and police and all those things. And do carve outs to the city so that the city would get back to patrol cars while they would be getting services from the sheriff's department, those kinds of things. So they figured out how to balance the books. I think at the end of the day, they would actually be taking more debt from the city than what they would be transferring over. So they're actually kind of talking about paying their way. Next steps are it has to go to a vote within the La Jolla community, and then it would go to a vote that would be citywide. So that's going to be a long haul. The college area is currently undergoing their the ideas report that we just saw, and they're drafting their responses to it, and the community plan updates for their area are sort of being fast tracked. So they said it seemed like there was a long, slow lead up, and then all of a sudden it was a big hurry. So we need to be prepared to have sort of a big hurry come at us for the mid-city community plan update. They could come back after this ideas report and then just say, hey, you've got 2 months to think about it. The last thing that was presented at the CPC was the city is considering allowing existing billboards to be converted to digital electronic billboards. We have billboards on Adams Avenue. Those could become light up LED panels. The city decades ago fought having any new billboards put up citywide, and they put a moratorium on it. It went all the way to the Supreme Court, US Supreme Court, and won. So now they're starting to look at their existing footprint of billboards and seeing if they can increase its monetization by going digital. The impact of that is unknown. I mean, I've seen some of these billboards are super bright. Other ones are more subdued and make sense. So the devil's in the details. This is just a heads up. Next up, let's see. Front Mid-City Community Plan Update Committee. Emily's not here. Francis, are you on that one?
No, I'm sorry. I've been away for 3 weeks, and Emily's away, and we have. I think we're still trying to get the city to agree to a meeting, but I haven't been able to contact Emily because we've both been out of town. So
okay,
that'll be more news.
That sounds like an update to me. Thanks.
Okay.
Historical property review report.
Saw a couple of addresses on Mead Avenue, but not in Normal Heights.
Okay. Utility undergrounding and street lighting mad.
I think that's what Francis reported on.
Yeah. Oh, okay.
Yeah, that's what we were just.
All the same. Okay. Traffic calming study.
We're here because we're interested in acorn lights.
Oh, okay.
We do not want them. We do not want the cost of it being on our property taxes and then being passed on to our heirs when we die and leave the house to them. So I'd like to know what exactly is going on with that right now.
Francis, do you remember there was some postcards that went out?
Yeah, let's see if I can, Emily's so much better at this than I am. So we, I think the next thing is we're not anywhere near that point yet. But there, once we have a design agreed upon and with the city, then there'll be a whole nother round of sort of voting, which every property owner will, my understanding is every property owner will vote on whether they wish to, have the acorn lights or not. So you're certainly, that's absolutely, that will be the time to express that. I think we're probably still, unfortunately, quite a long way from that. It's interesting to hear whoever it was earlier saying that undergrounding probably isn't gonna start until 2027, you know? I mean, it was supposed to start, you know, now, and now it's 2 years away again. So I don't know. It's
Time we voted, I believe it was 2019.
Yeah,
So
that-
some of the owners wouldn't even be property owners anymore, so that really null and void, I would think.
Right,
So-
no, the vote, the previous vote, sorry, the previous vote was kind of a barometer, a gauge of people's interest, you know, it was a sort of just to see what the level of response was, whether there was any point in proceeding with the idea at all. And that did come back with a majority of people expressing interest in the idea. It's nothing not binding, you know, nothing final about it, just interest. And we don't even really have any numbers yet. We don't know, you know, what we're talking about in terms of what it would cost homeowners. You know, there's just a lot of unknowns still.
Will
You know
there
if
be an
they-
estimate of cost when we take this vote?
Yeah, yeah, yes, I hope very much that, I mean, I would assume that by the time if we get to that point, we actually ask people to vote, we will have hopefully some pretty accurate numbers as to what it would cost.
And I'm guessing now you're thinking that's not gonna be for a couple of years yet?
Well, it's so hard to know. We're hopefully we'll manage to get a meeting with the city. What we're trying to do at the moment is get the city to come and, you know, come to one of our community group meetings and, you know, talk to people. But it's just very hard to pin anyone down. But Emily, my partner, is just really good at that stuff. And I'm sorry she's not here tonight to talk about this, because she could probably, you know, say a lot more about it. But I think there's still an awful lot of unknowns. So.
You know how the vote is counted? Is it like the number of a percentage of the number of responding properties, or is it a percentage of the total properties?
You mean when there's a final vote?
Yeah.
I think it will be, I don't know. I shouldn't say, Paul, because I'm really not sure. My recollection is that it's the number of responding properties, because that's kind of what it was with the initial, you know, vote of interest. And
You know, a lot of people, when they get postcards in the mail, they think it's junk mail.
Yes. Yeah. Well, we may, I don't know if there's gonna be some other,
Thing.
you know, other means by which we could do voting when that time comes. You know, I don't know.
Yeah. So it sounds like we have some details to work out, and.
A lot.
Did you sign up for our newsletter?
Yes.
Great, because if anything comes up, you'll be in the loop.
Great, thank you.
Yeah.
Excuse me, Paul?
Yes.
This is Danielle. If I could, you should probably get in contact with the Talmadge Maintenance Assessment District. We set up a maintenance assessment district for Acorn Lights on the eastern half of Talmadge back in the 2000s. And the current chair of that is Brian Helmlich, and David Modi can get you in touch, and they could walk you through the whole process.
Okay.
Danielle, I've actually spoken with David Modi
Perfect.
quite a few times. He's been really helpful.
Yeah, he helped get our historical gates designated.
Yeah.
He and Fred Lindahl. But as to Acorn Lights, Brian Helmich is chair of the Talmadge Maintenance Assessment District. We also take care of the traffic circle at Adams and 49th Street, sorry. But getting half of a neighborhood covered in Acorn Lights to match the western half of the neighborhood was a monumental, and we did it because we were one of the first undergrounded neighborhoods in Council District 3 at the time. We were in Council District 3, it's that far back. But Brian would be great to contact, and also there are maintenance assessment districts just for lights in Kensington also. So reach out to your neighbors to the east and they could help you on those little details.
Thank you.
Okay.
Sure.
Thanks. Anybody in community engagement and finance committee?
No, we exist anymore.
I think it doesn't exist anymore.
I don't think it exists anymore, but,
I'm gonna scratch it and we'll reform it as needed.
but update on people went to the Adams Island Street Fair.
We got, I think, 25 new names on the mailing list. And I think Nancy, you spoke to someone who knew about the 35th and Adams building being an escrow for a new owner.
Yeah, they said it was about, like, did you ever call it back?
Didn't get through. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yes, the guy came to the street fair and he was talking to me. And, he said that the Millie's site is almost through escrow. And it's gonna be another 7-story high building.
Sounds like sounds like they just bought the same plans.
Yeah, well,
With that, I'm not sure, positive of that, because it went through a bank, you know.
Yeah.
Sticking through the bank, and then they sold it to whoever this investor is.
so I was there at that conversation too. So this is a commercial real estate broker, but he wasn't the broker for that property.
Oh, okay.
So he wasn't actually involved. He had heard about it, people, and he was assuming it was gonna be the same plans. He actually didn't know for sure though, whether it was, he wasn't, yeah, he just knew it was going through escrow. He didn't hear that.
Sure.
With that?
He said it was almost.
Yeah, he said it was almost through. Yeah, so actually by now it may already be, escrow maybe.
Okay, well, if anybody has any leads on that, let me know.
I'd say community event is Thursday. There's San Diego Blood Bank is hosting a blood drive in the Masonic Centers.
Okay.
So wants to see blood drive. It's the end of the weekend. O negative, O A negative, and B negative are most needed.
Oh,
Blood
okay.
types.
Yeah.
Do we still wanna have the next meeting on the same Tuesday or?
In November, is it conflicting with election? Oh. I don't, well, they're not, the voting is not here, so we don't need to reschedule.
Okay.
Yeah.
That's only one proposition.
Yeah.
That's not 50 years.
Profit. Yeah. You guys know what to do. I will adjourn. Thank you.